Time for Elliotte Saturday headlines. Obviously, Necas and Rantanen at the heart of a blockbuster trade in the NHL. The Islanders are hosting Carolina right now, and Rantanen's +1. Hasn't got a point, but he's got 3 shots on goal. Whereas for Marty Necas, a tough debut. Colorado loses to Boston 3-1. He's a -3 in the game. Following that game, here were Jared Bednar and Nathan MacKinnon on the big news.
Yeah, tough day. Really tough day. Like, you lose a good friend, good teammate, great player. It's hard to see. It's hard, you know. But I understand the business side of things. We got some good players that can come in and help us, but it doesn't make it any easier. You know, it's tough to see Mikko go for sure.
Really great friend. 9 years, 10 years together. Won a cup, obviously. It's just sad. I mean. I don't know exactly what happened. I know I called Mikko pretty shortly after. We talked close to 20 minutes. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate. Obviously, losing a great friend, great teammate. Yeah, I'm going to miss him.
What happened, Elliot?
So this is the board is the key here. These are the highest cap hits in the NHL, and Panarin highlighted as the highest paid winger in the National Hockey League. Now, the Avalanche did not want to talk any further about it. The reps for Rantanen didn't want to talk any further about it, but here's what we can piece together. The Avalanche were willing to make Rantanen the highest paid winger in the National Hockey League, so above Panarin's 11.64. However, they were not willing to put him above MacKinnon, who is at 12.6. So, and just the number floating around the league, and again, no confirmation, but the number floating around the league is 11.75. That's where people think Colorado was in and around there. Well, if you take a look at the league now, you've gone from McDavid 12.5, MacKinnon 12.6, Matthews 13.25, Draisaitl 14, and the cap rising. And, you know, players are starting to go up there. McDavid to come, Kaprizov to come. The Avalanche made it very clear they weren't willing to go in that area. And ultimately, Rantanen wasn't going to sign. I think the players in Colorado made it clear. They were hoping it would be like Landeskog and go right down to the wire and he would sign. But the organization was not willing to do that. They were not willing to risk an injury, and they decided to make the move. Now, he's in Carolina, as Ron mentioned, playing tonight. The Hurricanes get the chance to make the offer for him and to see if they can keep him. It's their runway now. Last year they tried with Jake Gensel, didn't work, but they have a much, much better cap situation than they did a year ago. And one thing the Hurricanes have talked about is they've never had a player on their roster as highly regarded and talented in the league as Rantanen is. And they are excited about that. And I think they're prepared to go higher than they've gone before. We're just going to see if that number is going to be good enough. And finally, Pettersson. There was a time yesterday I thought that Pettersson was going to be a Carolina Hurricane. Obviously, it didn't happen. I think those talks continue, and I believe that one of the teams that has really shown a lot of interest is Buffalo. There are others, but the Sabres are definitely in there.
One thing on that Vancouver angle, not JT Miller, it was going to have to be Pettersson.
No, yesterday, if they were going to make the deal, it was going to be Pettersson.
So when you look at the boards, you keep seeing Connor Bedard, Chicago Blackhawks have a third-round pick, essentially, in this deal, and you think, good God, is that what Connor gets out of this deal? Bedard, where's Chicago in this?
Well, they're going to have, they're going to have a ton of cap room, and I think they're going to be aggressive, Ron. But look, like for this, whenever I struggle with this, and I struggle with this stuff, I go to the math nerds because they know a lot more than I do, and I say, does this make sense? And the things that they point out for the Blackhawks is they get a higher pick than they believe they would have gotten if they just traded Hull straight up, probably by about 25 to 30 picks. And the other thing, this is not insignificant. If you look at the money they would have had to pay Hull and the money that they're going to pay Rantanen, they'd probably save about $500,000. So I think that's part of it too.
We'll come back to the cap, and Mitch Marner is a UFA too. But first, Crosby. This opens the door for this speculation that the Cole Harbour kids will be together now that they've moved Rantanen. Is that a possibility?
I don't think so. I know everybody would love that, but I don't think that's in the cards now, no.
Okay, how about Toronto and Mitch Marner, seeing what happened here?
So all the Leaf fans are like, how do we make this about the Leafs? So we're going to do that. You know, they're wondering, like, okay, Rantanen got traded. Marner, is there any comparison? No, there's not. Marner has a full no trade, no move clause. Rantanen had a partial. He could not block a trade to Carolina, so the situations are not comparable.
And lastly, back to Dundon in a way. Where's the cap headed, in your opinion? And that is the reason he'd be willing to make this big contract?
Yes, but I think this is going to be one of the more interesting fundamental conversations around the league in the next little while. In 2 years, the cap is probably going to be over $100 million. And there are teams that are not comfortable with that. We talked about the salary progression now, $14 million Draisaitl. There are teams saying that we're going to get a split. There'll be teams that have no problem going $100 million and above, but there'll be going to be others who are like, we're not comfortable going there. We're going to have an internal cap. And I think what we saw today was a message from Colorado that there are going to be some teams, as this cap rises to the $100 million or more range, they're not going to be comfortable with going there. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds over the next few years.
Are you saying we have to interview the commissioner during the Four Nations Cup? Is that what you're saying?
I hope we get the cap numbers before that.
Okay.